welcome, everybody. I hope you're all well. Let me know if you can hear and see me all okay. Just got a one in the chat. If you can hear and see me all okay, it's a pleasure to have you all here today. We have another amazing call lined up for you. I'm going to share some insights into the protocol, what it's done this week, where we're at with closing the next tranche. We're actually very, very close, to be honest with you. We've got some very good profits already banked by the protocol, but it hasn't hit that final target that we are looking for just yet. But welcome, everybody. I hope you're well. Welcome, Mr. Donny. Welcome, HD. Welcome, Hams. Welcome, Ayub. Hope you're all good. Good to see you all here. Thank you for being here on a Friday evening. As always, we won't take too much time. Welcome, Dimitri from Greece. Welcome, bro. We won't take too much time on this call. I know it's a Friday evening, a Friday night, late night for some of you. So we're going to keep this short and sweet. And this is, of course, this call is specifically about the protocol. We have our fantastic translations being done in Arabic by Halim. And we have our amazing CTO, Irving, actually doing the Spanish translation this evening. So welcome, everybody. I believe the translation is working. Irving, you might be muted, by the way, just to let you know. So if nobody can hear Spanish, there you go, he's unmuted now. Okay, fantastic. Anyway, let's get on with things. Thank you for being here, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. If my internet does cut off a little bit, please just let me know, and I'll just turn off my camera, okay? But it should be okay, I believe. So let's share the screen. And let's have a little look at what Bitcoin has done this week. Actually, it started off fantastic this week, very, very good week. Some really big moves. And last week, actually, we spoke about if Bitcoin can get up into this area around that 210 to 212 mark, we should be closing the next tranche. Now, we got very, very close. We hit 210 and a half. Sorry, 210, 110. 1 month we will hit 210. But we hit 110,000. We haven't hit what I believe is the next target, which is all the way up here, about 115,000. And can anybody tell me what happened yesterday in the day and yesterday night that potentially could have affected Bitcoin? The person who says they do not speak English, we have Arabic translation. If you just click on interpretation, If anybody can speak Arabic, please put in the chat for them to click the translation and select Arabic. We have the fantastic Halim doing the translation in Arabic. But of course, if you can't understand me, you won't be able to get onto it. Anyway, Bitcoin late last week, so on Thursday last week, it hit this area that we were looking for price to get to for the protocol to start. This is actually what I believed price would get to before we started to see this next push up. And it actually worked absolutely perfectly. We hit this zone, which was on the call last week. For those of you who were here last week, or the week before, actually, we spoke about this zone. We hit it and we have gone up very, very nicely. You can see the protocol has done a variety of different buys and has closed many, many profits, okay? So we're sitting quite nicely in profit at the moment, actually. Now, at this area, I'm not sure if anybody knows what happened. However, everybody must understand is, obviously, Bitcoin has dropped a little bit. Nothing crazy, to be honest with you, but it's dropped a little bit. Why has it dropped a little bit? This isn't a bad thing, by the way. It just allows the protocol to get some more buy positions ready for its next profit. So I believe if all things go well, we should actually close the tranche early next week, and close up all the remaining profit that is in the protocol at the moment. Now, the reason we have this drop, for those of you who don't follow what's going on in the world, two things. One of them was yesterday sometime in the afternoon in the UK. President Trump, the president of the US, announced that he will put more tariffs in place. Okay. Now, I haven't read exactly what countries, what tariffs, but as soon as the market hears tariffs, they get scared. Okay. Now, why do they get scared? Because tariffs mean uncertainty. It means trade being unsettled between different countries. Now, Bitcoin is, no matter what you think of Bitcoin and how an amazing asset it is a risky asset to hold. Okay. Why is it a risky asset to hold? It's simple. It fluctuates in price a lot. Okay. Now, you can see here, it went from 100,000 on the 5th of June all the way up to 110,000, just over, on the 9th of June. Okay, so in 4 days, it's moved in value by $10,000. Okay, $10,000. We've got some excited people in the chat today. Welcome, everyone. $10,000. Now, although that's fantastic when it's going up, it can also move down $10,000, or at the moment, it's moved down from 110 to 100 and let's say, just say 103. So it's moved down $7,000. So this means it is a risky asset because it goes up and down aggressively. Now, when we have things like tariffs being talked about in the market, this scares investors. And what they do is they take their money from risky assets and they put it into safer assets. For example, gold. For example, the US dollar. This means Bitcoin goes down in value. Now, this is a cycle that happens up and down. It's nothing crazy, okay? And it will happen and it continue to happen, especially with Trump in power, who is quite a outspoken president. He will say what he wants and he will do what he wants, and he doesn't care what will happen, okay? I'm not talking about wars and things like that. I'm talking about economically. Now, late yesterday night, this is a bit of a news class today, okay, everybody, for those who don't follow the news, and I don't blame you if you don't follow the news, because it's always doom and gloom in the news. Yesterday late at night, the conflict, the war that is happening in the Middle East, in Israel, Palestine, and actually further afield now into Iran and things like that, escalated. Okay, now I'm not talking about our political opinions, our opinions on humanity and things like that. We're just talking about Bitcoin here. Okay, we're talking about the financial markets. All right. Now, what happened last night was that Israel went and did what they are calling a preemptive strike in Iran against, again, what they are saying is potential nuclear sites. Okay, now, what does this mean? Again, this is not opinions. This is not anything about politics here. We're talking financial. Okay, now, on a financial aspect, this scares people. Okay, it scares people. Now, if we look at a doomsday scenario, okay, if we look at a doomsday scenario, Bitcoin, unfortunately for Bitcoin enthusiasts, will not really serve a purpose. Why? Because in a doomsday scenario, there will be no internet, there will be no electricity, and so on and so forth. Now, we're talking very, very extreme here, okay? Very extreme. But what this means is that people take, again, their money from Bitcoin, which is a risky asset, a digital asset, and they put it into more safe havens, such as gold. Okay, so when this attack happened late last night, okay, the markets reacted very aggressively to the downside. All right, now you can see it's rebounded about half the way up, and I hope, as long as things don't get crazy, that we continue to pump up, and it does look promising actually. If we can break here, if we can break this zone here, then I believe we will get a nice pump. Now, remember, whatever we say, the news trumps what we see on the charts. Okay? So if we wake up tomorrow morning and there's been further escalation, then I expect Bitcoin to go down. Right? I expect Bitcoin to go down. How far? Who knows? Okay. However, not crazy. I'm not talking about anything crazy. We're still looking to come up and take the all-time high and hit this 115 mark and maybe even further. Okay. But we're talking about short term. Now, these two scenarios that played out yesterday in the day and yesterday night, or this morning, late night or early morning, depending where you are, affects Bitcoin. Okay, and that's why we had that drop. So don't get scared on, okay, well, I think Bitcoin is going to drop and going to continue to tank down. No, the reason this has happened is logical, because people get scared when there is conflict, when there is uncertainty. And if I show you gold, when this happened, look what happened to gold. Okay, now what is gold? Gold is a safe haven. It's a physical asset. It is, although it is not an asset that grows as aggressively as Bitcoin, it is an asset that has been around for thousands and thousands of years. People trade it. It has value. It has tangible value. You can touch it, you can feel it, and humans are attracted to gold. Okay, and it is the safe haven. It is the hedge against inflation. Okay, Bitcoin has not taken over yet, not yet. Okay, and I think it won't take over in the sense of, it's Bitcoin's worth way more than gold, of course. Value-wise, yes, it destroys gold, but tangible asset that people can touch and feel when there is a crisis around the world, gold will always be number one. Okay, it will always be number one because it is a physical asset that we can touch. Okay. And you see gold absolutely aggressively ramped up, pushed up aggressively. And on the flip side, Bitcoin dropped. Okay, and this is all because of the attacks that happened last night, and of course Trump's tariff announcements again plays a part in it as well. All right. Now, as I said, for me, I am looking, as long as we don't get a further escalation, then I do believe we should come up over the next week and take out this zone. Okay. Now, once this happens, as soon as we get to this zone, okay, the tranche will be closed, and I'm going to explain why. We don't need to get up here to close this tranche. Why? Because Bitcoin has come down slightly and allowed the protocol to enter more positions. Of course, I can speak a little bit slowly. Sorry, translators. So, Bitcoin, the protocol has been allowed to enter more trades because of this drop in Bitcoin. So now we do not need Bitcoin to come up here to hit, our average tranche closure performance that we've been getting for the last few months of about 3% each tranche, 3% each tranche, is because the protocol has been able to add more buy positions in this zone. So now if we break up to here and hit, to be honest with you, this area, 110 or up to 112, somewhere between there, we'll be watching. We will be able to close the tranche with some very, very nice profits. Okay? As always, this is the real markets, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a made-up thing. If Bitcoin does what I believe it should do, then the tranche will be closed, the profits will be distributed. Already, to be honest with you, we've got a decent amount of profits. We were just looking for one little push higher to close off the rest of the positions. Of course, what we've had here with the escalation of what's happening in the Middle East, and of course, Mr. Trump, President Trump, doing his thing, as always, has played a part in slowing that down a little bit. But as you can see, Bitcoin, after this, this big move down, which was caused, of course, by the escalation in what's going on in the Middle East, has rebounded nicely and does look potentially, if we break here, that we're going to have a nice push up. But I stress, everybody, it's important, this is important. If we have overnight another escalation, something else happen, attacks from either side of this conflict, you will see Bitcoin drop again, okay? Possibly into this zone. But that's not a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. It just means the protocol is able to buy some more positions down in this zone, ready for the next push up, which will happen, okay? It will happen. So, as I said, Bitcoin has taken some very nice trades, closed some very nice profits, okay? Closed some very nice profits, and it is in some more buys here. And as I said, if we get this nice push up here, we'll be closing the tranche. I was hoping it would be this week, and we were so close to actually being able to close it this week. We're literally about $1,000 to $2,000 price-wise on Bitcoin, short of achieving the targets we set ourselves per tranche, until, of course, version 2 comes out, which is will close all the tranche. Every tranche is a trade, basically. Every trade closes, profits go. Every trade closes, profits go. Okay, until that is finalized, then, of course, we close a group of trades. All right? So, are there any questions, ladies and gentlemen? We've been on the call for about 25 minutes now. As always, this call lasts about 30 minutes. You've heard my opinion on what I believe will happen to Bitcoin. As I said, if we can go, just to finish off, if from here we do break, then I believe we should hopefully hit this area and hit this 112 mark. Anyway, in this area, to be fair, now will be fine for the tranche closure, because Bitcoin has added more positions. Sorry, the protocol's added more positions. If we get this down here, where we don't break here and we come down into this zone again, which could happen, then we will look to see, again, going in this direction. Okay? Yeah, the bot's on fire. The bot did, as well, the protocol has done really, really nicely over the last week. Done exactly what it needs to do. Of course, look, any trading system, if there is war in the world, if there is conflict in the world, the markets will drop. Okay, it's normal. There's nothing you can do. Now, what we as the community must understand is that when that happens, it's not a bad thing. Okay, it's going to happen. It just means that instead of closing the tranche this week, which we were so close to being able to do, it means that it moves on to next week. It is what it is. It is a real system, 100% real, 100% transparent, 100% honest system that does the job. And it's been doing the job for the last 6-7 months. Obviously, it's been working much longer than that, but within the DeFily community, 6-7 months, delivering over 60% staking rewards in those 6-7 months. Absolutely fantastic, especially when you know that it's real. All right. Good question, Talal. Why didn't it happen? Because it wasn't at the target that we set money-wise, percentage-wise, for the tranche closure. We like to close the tranche at about 3%, okay, each tranche. And actually, by the way, the protocol itself, if I just show you here, let me show you here. It's in on Bitcoin. It's in about $300 of drawdown, which is nothing. Okay, it's actually closed so many trades. So the profit in the protocol is fantastic at the moment. Okay, it's very, very good. Okay, but it wasn't at that target, at that level that we were looking for it to get to close the tranche. Okay, so that range that you see, that blue box or red box, sorry, is a range. Somewhere between 110 and 112,000 is what I said last week. It hit the 110, but it didn't go far enough to get that target that we set ourselves of about 3%. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. All right, but it's, as I said, it's accumulated plenty of profits. Okay, and to be fair, but when we get this little turnaround here, then it's going to clear up very, very nicely and close some more profits, and should be in that 3% mark that we're looking to close the tranches with. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Talal. Will the tan rush take some time? I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, what does tan rush mean? But hopefully that answers your question, Talal. If not, let me know. But remember, what I talk about is zones. Why do I talk about zones just before we end? Because the protocol will enter trades. If it enters a trade here, okay, and doesn't have big pullbacks to enter more bigger positions, then it means that the profit that we're looking to hit won't be as high as what we may have expected. Okay. If, however, it does what you see here, where it comes down and the protocol can enter trades, comes down again, it can enter trades. When it comes up to this zone, it will accumulate much more profit. Okay, because it has multiple entries. All right, but if it does what it did last week, where it sort of just buys down here, of course it was in some more buys from before, but it does buys down here, and it doesn't get a big pullback to enter more positions, then it means that the profit that it achieved is not as big as we would expect, because it hasn't had the chance to buy. Okay, so that's why we have the range, always a range. You notice everything I talk about is a range, 110 to 112,000. The next range after is 114.5 to 116,000. Okay, so you're looking at about $2,000 range per time, because that really is that margin for us to know where, if we're at the 3%, close to it, just over it, so on and so forth. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the call. As I said, I think as long as nothing crazy goes on in the world over the weekend, we should see Bitcoin turn around, and we should see the next tranche being closed. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you all next week. I'm sure we have some amazing calls lined up with our LP, our liquidity protocol, which went live last week. We did our launch call on that. Absolutely fantastic. We've got a star-studded team actually joining DeFily now, and we're ready to go. We're ready to explode. We have our office in Dubai. The office, our trading office in Cyprus, is also almost ready, and we'll be showing you around that very, very soon. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.